Hi folks, it's me again, smoking my Rob pipe, and in it I've got a Balkan Sobranie copy from the Danish pipe shop, Balkan Sobranie White it's called, from my own tobaccos. The reaction to me shaving off my beard's been quite interesting. Most reactions sort of been mixed, I suppose. I think a lot of people sort of think I should grow it back immediately. I'm not sure what I think. It seemed like a good idea to take it off at the time, but then when you see yourself as you've never seen yourself before for years, you begin to wonder who the hell you are. I suppose why I shaved it off is because I'm losing so much weight. I wanted to see what difference it made. Maybe I should have waited a bit more until I've lost a bit more there and here. I don't know. And maybe I'll just grow my beard back again. I'll wait till after Tuesday. I must let the young ladies at the slimming group see me and see what reaction I get from them. We live in Newcastle, so I'm likely to be told what they think, but in the nicest way possible. In Yorkshire, they just tell you, bloody hell, you look awful. You know, you will. But it made me begin to think is, what difference does it make? You know, what difference does it make to you who are watching me? Do you think any the less, or he's not the man he was? Or, you know, we make assumptions from people. We like people as they are. And sometimes we forget how much image can make us think in certain ways about people. With my long beard, I look wise and Gandalf-like. And I suppose without a beard, I just look like a wizened old man. But I'm still me. And I think I've been a bit surprised by the reaction. I'm not saying there have been any nasty reactions. I mean, there's been a lot of joking, which is fair enough. I'm used to that. And when you've got a beard, it's amazing how many people come up to you in a place where you work and just feel your beard and then say, oh, by the way, there's no toilet paper in the toilet. Or is that just a Yorkshire thing? Oh, well, never mind. Carry on, Stephen. I got told when I had a beard by somebody, I never trust anybody who's got more hair on their face than on their head. Well, God knows what she'd say now, because I've got none on my head and none on my face. But I don't feel any different, except when I look in a mirror or except when I'm putting a video up. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm still me. In here is that same person as was here just before I shaved off the beard. I must admit, when you do shave off your beard, there comes a point where you think, oh. But that point usually comes too late to do anything to correct it. I did leave myself with a little Hitler moustache. I won't tell you what Carolyn said or threatened, but I immediately went and shaved the little Hitler moustache off. But it made me think again about how we make judgments about people by what we see. We have quite a lot of homeless people in this area. People who are sat on the streets in second-hand clothing, several layers wrapped up, and occasionally they'll have a dog with them. And the dog looks better fed and cared for than they do. And they'll sit there either asking for a cup of coffee, selling the big issue, or asking for money in some way. Some just sit there not asking. Many, when that happens, it's because they're so embarrassed. But it's when you stop and talk to somebody that, A, they're surprised, especially if you get down to their level. You know, sort of either kneel on the ground or sit beside them, or, you know, just get to know them. And you find out that a year ago, 2 years ago, this guy was a member of the English Army, been out fighting for us, had come back and couldn't settle, and suddenly nowhere to live, no one to help him to ease into everyday life after being on a place where he was stressed out to the limits, and he's expected to come home and everything's supposed to be all right. Or you find somebody who had a mortgage, had a family, and had a good job, and the future was bright. And then one day, the firm goes bust, or they start laying off workers, and he can no longer pay the mortgage. And his wife and children maybe leave him, or they're in a bed and breakfast somewhere, and he's sat on a street, sick of applying for jobs and getting absolutely no response. Or the response he gets is, I don't think you're the type of person we want for the job. I think I may have told you about a friend of mine. Went to one of the best fee-paying schools in England, a school called Harrow. When he left, became almost a hippie, long hair, clean clothes, but saw things outside the box a lot. One day went for an interview, and he was sat there, and the interviewer immediately took a dislike to it, made assumptions about him. And the interview lasted about 5 minutes, during which time the gentleman said, well, I don't think you're really the type of person that this firm needs, young man. So my friend just said, okay, got up, and as he got to the door, he turned and looked at the man and said, when were you at Harrow? And the personnel officer said, Harrow? How did you know I was at Harrow? And he said, well, you're wearing the old Harrovian tie, you know. I assumed that you'd gone there like me. So he said, my dear boy, why didn't you say so when you came in? And it's because I don't want to get a job just because of the school I went to. Smiled and walked out. You know, sometimes the people we meet can be very different to the way we think they are. Somebody I used to work for when I was a teenager and coming into my early 20s was always very smart, incredibly friendly. He was a tailor by trade, and we sold men's clothes to the American troops and the personnel on Menwith Hill because they didn't like the clothes that the PX made. And we would make American-style clothes in English materials. You know, very little shoulder pads and all the things that you guys in America like in your clothes. But he was a con man. He was the biggest con man ever. We pulled more scams than I cared to think about. And we were lucky. Or at least I was lucky. Because I left before things got too bad. The firms that he dealt with, that he got clothes off on credit, thought he was a big businessman, and he was actually dealing from home. Good quality stuff. We sold a lot of it, and we paid for less. But he looked the part. He had a Scottish accent, which was quite attractive in business. And he made people smile, so they trusted him. We all fall into the trap of making judgments. When I was a vicar, I worked on a fairly rough estate. In fact, our parish, I think, was the second poorest parish in the country. Certainly the estate we worked on was amongst the highest deprivation rates. And there was a lady who must have been, well, I don't know how old she was. As far as I was concerned, she was one of my little old ladies. And I used to take communion regularly, and you know, we got on quite well. But then one day we were talking, and she suddenly started talking about the war. And she said, well, of course I knew the war was nearly over when the Germans started transmitting messages in plain language. She said it was obvious we'd got them. And this lady worked as a code cracker. And she was very good at it, apparently. Each day she'd go into work, she'd get the messages. She worked with Alan Turing and the crowd at Bletchley Park. It's just she never talked about it. It wasn't anybody's business. But I certainly stopped thinking of her as a little old lady. I could tell Carolyn's laughing because she knows about her, and thought, you know, here's somebody who's lived a life that's amazing. Same with another parish we were at. We had the three witches. They were three old ladies. We got on very well because they had great sense of humour and liked us and we liked them. God knows how Carolyn got round to the subject. I haven't asked. But one day they were talking about how do you skin a human being. And Carolyn sort of talked about the way she'd heard. And this lady looked at her and said, "Oh no, my dear, you don't do it like that. You leave the head till last, that way they live longer to suffer the pain. And what you do is you start round the waist and get a stick and wind up the skin." I could tell you, didn't turn me back on her much. But now all our nephews and nieces look at Carolyn because they know she knows how to skin you so you live longer and suffer more pain. And their mothers hold it over them like a threat. Remember your Auntie Carolyn. She knows how to skin somebody. You just never look at somebody, whether they're a man or a woman, but especially a lady who is a member of the ladies' groups, makes tea, polishes the brasses, keeps the vicar happy by helping him when other people criticise him. You'd never think of her knowing how to skin somebody. I used to wonder what other little tidbits of information she'd got. Did she know the best way to strangle somebody? How did she learn how to skin somebody? To be able to describe it in such detail. Well, never mind. So, when you look at me, without my beard at the moment, what do you see? Not any different. I'm just the same person. When I lose a lot more weight, there are going to be friends of mine that see me very differently. Amongst the gay community, I'm considered to be a silver bear, a great bear of a man. One of them said to me the other day, "For God's sake, don't lose any more weight. Otherwise, you'll no longer be a bear." I actually didn't think it mattered. It'll be interesting to see whether we're still friends. When I'm not a bear. And I wonder what I'll be called. Anyway, we'll leave it there. May each and every day be fun for you. May your mornings and your afternoons and your evenings be times of great happiness. May you learn something new every day. But more than anything else, may you and your family be richly blessed. May each day be very special.